Welcome to Disclosure Network New York. Today is Sunday, May 2nd, 2019. I'm Nick Curto. What?
June 2nd.
What?
June 2nd.
Oh my God.
Start over.
Thank you. Oh.
May 2nd.
Oh, yes. All right. Thank you. Okay, we're going to edit that. Here we go again. Take two. Welcome to Disclosure Network New York. Today is Sunday, June 2nd, 2019. I'm Nick Curto, dnny Director and co-founder. dnny is a grassroots organization now celebrating our 18th year of providing 2 meetings a month throughout the year in Manhattan. We focus on cutting-edge UFO, ET issues, paranormal phenomenon, and many related important subjects that are in back of the mainstream headline news that they never will report. In other words, who or what is pulling the strings and who's behind the curtain. Our members do intensive investigative research into these various topics and share that information with the group at our meetings as well as on the internet to our followers there and also on YouTube. Our motto right from day one is, quote, connecting the dots to seek truth, unquote. We have available to everyone worldwide a dnny news blast service. It's an email service. It's almost once a day. And when people members send in topics that they feel are important, I will forward them on to everybody on the internet that's on our list. We have over 500 people that signed up for that service and counting. So we're going to start right now. I am so thrilled to have our guest speaker, Marc Brinkeroff. Please welcome him. Marc, a very warm welcome to you. It is certainly great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Okay, and I want to just go very briefly about you so that there's just a little bit of a forward intro. E.T. Contactee, world-renowned lecturer. He's been sighting UFO craft of different shapes and sizes in the skies over New York City and elsewhere, photographing incredible photographs, and sometimes communicating with those ships. And Marc will tell you more about that, which is incredibly exciting. He's been doing this over many years. I would like to start the interview talk with a few brief questions, Marc, for your background, and then we'll go right into your talk. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. First off, where were you born?
Born in Yonkers, New York.
Okay.
Moved to Mahopac, New York when I was about 4.
Were you from a large family, brothers and sisters?
One brother.
One brother. Younger?
Older.
Older, okay. And did your family stay put there, or did they move around when you were growing up?
We stayed there mostly. And
Most of the
my
time?
parents died.
Okay.
They're gone.
Okay. And for schooling, just right there?
Right there. The school is at the top of my hill, and I just walked up to the field, and that's where I had my encounters.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Back by mountains and forest.
Fair enough. Okay. How did I know this is going to go in many places, but how did you remember starting this very special interest, and how did that affect your life? Can you pick a moment? I know that's a hard one.
It is. Basically, I've been conscious since before I was born. I know where I came from. I took over a body that was to be discarded. It was to be a stillborn body inside my mother's womb. I took it over at 8 months. The other soul left. And in that, I was conscious of the whole time, knowing where I came from, with my angel. All our angels are friends. They're friends of ours. We have guardians. But they're not souls. They are a different substance with Creator. So the angels work with us as friends, and basically friends. It's mostly friends. So the angels were with me, and I did not get the veil, which was, there's an angel that does that to souls before they get in, if they're coming in right away. But that my mission was not to have a veil. I was to have the consciousness of where I came from and knowledge where I came from in deep space and what's going on in our solar system. And basically my father was a mathematician, type of genius who was into astronomy. And he asked me at 4 years old about our solar system, and I told him all about the solar system that I could. And of course he never taught me that. And he said, well, how many planets do you have in your system, our system? And I said, well, how many do you say you have? He said 9, and he goes Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And I said, well, there's actually 12. And I said, I'm including the one that blew up, that was blown up by the people. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, the one that's between the big planet and the little smaller one. He says, the asteroid belt? And I said, yeah, that's what it is. That was planet Maldek in the ancient times before. And they, the people that blew that planet up came back and incarnated not only on Mars, but also this planet Earth. So a lot of the people that are causing trouble today, being war and all that, are those same types of souls coming back and forth to this planet, creating that kind of energy here. So it's a war type of planet. That's why there's people in the solar system, there's different people like Ashtar, different solar teachers and, let's say, the commanders in different alliance groups have said this is not going to be allowed again in this solar system ever. No planet's going to be blown up while we're watching. And then that's why you have the different UFOs all over planet Earth right now and around our solar system, monitoring constantly what's going on with the militaries around the planet. And so they're not going to allow that to happen. You've seen them shut down missile silos. You've seen them actually take out one of the missiles, that rockets that was going to go up a couple years ago by Elon. And they took that one out. There was a spaceship on a beam. And that was because inside that ship, that rocket was technology that was going to monitor the humans on the planet, well, people, in their phones and everything, and TVs and cars, but be able to take them out in a beam of energy like a sonic ray. That means that they're trying to cull the humans. They didn't allow that, but in today's technology now, they have that ability still with their DEWs, those kind of rays that they can monitor right into like smart meters or whatever. So we got to be careful like that. That was just that story basically on coming here. And my father witnessed many UFOs with me over our house. They would follow me all over. If you were in high school or kindergarten with me, you would be seeing UFOs following us. I didn't have a lot of friends because they called me the Martian, but the thing is, a lot of things did happen as a child. And anybody with me saw them. And they would come back very close up in the fields, very close, over the treetops and over the school's roof with the giant discs. And they waved from the window. So we had a lot of experiences like that. At that time, didn't have a movie camera, didn't have a camera. But my father, we joked about it. Imagine if we had the movie camera working we had when they're right over our house with beams in the yard and waving. So this is my friends and family. These are my friends and crew, which we call family. And you know how you have group souls, you go back and forth in lifetimes with each other and experience things. This is what it's like in space crews and things. We come back and forth. I don't know if I've answered everything.
Well, no, it's one heck of a beginning.
I mean,
God.
this is the truth, and what I'm here to do is to bring this truth of what's happening in deep space, and what's happening around this planet and this solar system, and what's happening in this galaxy right now. They all want to say global cooling in 1970, global warming 1980s, 90s, whatever they want to call it, climate change. The thing is it's natural. It's not caused by humans except a small fraction of it, just a little bit of it. The rest is caused by the solar sun that we got here, and this is what our mission has been talking about it forever, and that's why I came in. I had no karma here. The only time I came here was to walk on the planet to help some people, but I was an Etherean. And I chose to come in now with my friends and to let people know time is short, and it's not what we think it is anymore.
It's not what?
Not what we think it is. It's very short. We haven't got a lot of time because there's a lot of solar activity going on. But not only that, it's about the spiritual awakening. It's about coming back to Creator. Right now we got a lot of negative energy on planet Earth, and we know what that means. We heard about it, know all about it. Satanic and everything being promoted, atheism and everything. And the Creator is very patient. The thing is, where we are on these higher dimensional planes where I come from are 12th dimensional plus. I was speaking 12 dimensions when I was in the 6th grade. That was 1960s, and people didn't understand. But what it means is frequencies. And the planes and the planets have their own frequencies around each planet, which is a solid physical planet. Like we have an aura. The Earth has an aura. Each planet has an energy field. In that energy field are those dimensional planes that people are familiar with, 7 planes of light, etc. People are coming back and forth in those planes and coming back to reincarnate on the physical density planets that they're monitoring or being on as souls. But we want to help people get off the density in that cycle of rebirth and coming back and get them home to the higher realms where they are home. That's the home. There's no negativity up there. There's only the light, and you can be with the Creator's energy field as well. And that's what it means by being one with Creator. We're not divine beings. We are Creator's children, so we can access the Creator. And sometimes people think they're accessing the Creator here by taking ayahuasca. Well, I'm sorry, that's not the Creator. Any of these drugs or any of these rituals or any of these peyotes or any of these things that people do and smoke and drink or whatever they're doing is not going to access high realms. It's a drug, and it's controlling things. It's going to access low-level frequency and the nature kingdom type realm, the next frequency here. So all that is an illusion, and it's monitored, and these beings can manipulate people in that when they're in that state. So I've met people who said they had a high consciousness meeting with God. Well, I'm sorry, they didn't. They had something that reflected that because that's what they were thinking they wanted to see. And so we got to be careful with this, because everything on this next dimension, when you're out of body, soul travel, you can go further. But when you're out of body astrally, you are in the astral realms. Right there in astral realm land is where everything you think shows up in front of you. So if you have a fear, it comes at you. And if you have a belief system, that comes at you too. But I'm telling you, on those other levels, on the higher levels, there is no religions. These are the first plane, right here, right now, we're in, is this first plane, the densest physical reality, where we are right here on this planet. Second plane can be a soul trap where astrals and demonic beings and nature kingdom who are friendly also are in those realms, but they're good beings. The nature kingdom who transfer, and as they grow, they become angelic beings. So they're not evil beings. I know people want to say they're some, but they're not. Third plane is known as the mid-astral plane. Sometimes the etheric UFOs go in and out of that dimensional space. So when you see a UFO disappear in front of your eyes, it goes into those levels, those frequencies, and transfers to the next realms up. Fourth is the highest astral plane, the heaven, by Christians called that heaven realm. That's where you can come back again to incarnate to the first plane. You make your choices. Everything you do there is decided. What I'm going to learn today, what I want to get to awaken with. And sometimes they say, well, I want some kind of thing to happen to me, so I wake up and get acknowledged with this. So you might have an accident where you hit your head, or somebody has some kind of an accident, and it gives them an awakening. Or they have an encounter of some kind, and it gives them an awakening. Or a ghost meeting, and it gives them some kind of an awakening. So those are all planned by the soul before they come here. The sixth plane is a celestial plane, biblically referred to as a third heaven. That means that the third heaven is the third heaven realm, is higher up. But in that area, you can still come back if you feel you need to. You actually can have a choice on those levels. Seventh plane is the last plane of the solar system on the planet systems. At one-ment, or the sphere of Godhead, that is where you get a feeling of Creator is with me. And Creator is always with you, but you can actually feel it. After that, the eighth plane, and the ninth, and the 10th, and 11th, those are planes where you will get to the celestial levels where it's one with all unconditional love with other souls, other beings. Most people are confined to the 7 planes because they keep coming back with either guilt or emotion tying them back, grandchildren, something that pulls them back. On the one-ment third heaven, you get the choice, do I want to come back anymore or not? And if you don't need to learn anymore, you jump then to the next frequency, and that's where you can go beyond. You can go into space. You can go to other planet systems and have lifetimes there on the etheric levels as well. Etherians have a physical body. Everybody has a physical body on these levels. It's all relative with the frequency you're in. It's all physical solid, but higher frequency, meaning you don't need to eat on these levels. There's no food or drink. It's all in a thought form. You go, I had this on Earth. It was this water. Did you ever have that on Earth? No. Well, here it is. This is what it looks like. And you can take it, and that alien can taste it. And if it was pineapple juice or grapefruit, they will taste whatever the thought form that you put into that thought form is. And that's how they celebrate. They might have a meal or food that they recognize. You swallow it, you chew it, you taste it, you swallow it, and it dissipates into your energy field as a frequency of light. There's no internal organs like we think here on a physical. But there is a heart center and a lung center that feels like lungs. Even though you're breathing, it feels like lungs, but there is no lungs. It's just amazing. Everything looks muscles and everything. It's just thought. It's just a frequency. And you manifest the body as you feel and as you see. You'll see fine pores on these beings. They have no pores, no scars, no lines, no wrinkles. But their eyes are always different and larger. And inside the pupil area is usually sparkles of diamonds or light. And still a dark, looks like a galaxy or something. And then around it comes lights. So a lot of these beings have amazing eyes. But I don't know how far to go. Where I come from is the 12th plane. That's the last plane we manifest a physical looking body. And you'll see those other drawings I've drawn. Those are the bodies we take. You take on a perfected androgynous form, but you focus to whatever you feel. Some souls focus androgynous, some focus male or female. This is Yehoshua when he was on planet Earth, known as Jesus. As his highest part with Infinite Creator, he is known as Sananda in space. And that's how I've always known him, as Sananda, which means Son of Love. He is the Infinite One. He is the third in the Holy Trinity. The Holy Spirit, Yehoshua, Creator. The three divine beings in one. They are the only divine beings there are. Everything else is a thought of divinity, a feeling of divinity. So a soul like us, we cannot be divine beings, but we are children of the Creator. So we have the divine feeling with it. Even Blessed Mother, Mary, is not a divine being, and she will tell you I'm not. She says, I'm a created creature like you. But she has with her, because of who she is the queen of the omniverse, known throughout the omniverse in all the levels. And she will come to your rescue too. And she is your go-between as well. If you're asking for anything from Sananda or from Infinite Creator, and you want to speak to a mother feeling or sister or a big sister, you ask Mary or Miriam, and she will be a little go-between for people and souls. She overshadows the saints. Kuan Yin is an actual saint, and she overshadows her, and they're very good friends. And this is how I've seen her on the higher realms in her spacesuit. And inside those little amber things on her neck collar are star energy, she told me, because I thought they were opal. They were beautiful. So this is what I know from the other side, and I know many people don't want to hear about that because there are no religions in space. This is not religion. They come to anybody, even an atheist. They've told me, tell everybody, don't matter what they believe, if they just call out with their heart and sincerity, will come to them and help them, even at death. Because a lot of atheists don't believe in anything, so they end up being buried and just laying in their coffin asleep. So they can come and wake them up. So no religion on higher dimensions. This is part of the symbols we do. This is Yehoshua's symbol in space. And he is in command of everything that's out there. All the alliance groups, everyone knows who he is. Demonic beings know who he is, so they're afraid of him. This is, okay, when you see me out of body, that's my Ceralis, that's my space name. This is my friend Laranos. That's Astron. He was the one who gave the information in 1977 that came over the television broadcast in England, 1977. He was the voice that came over and they had no way of knowing who did this, how they did it. And I went to England to check out the information, and the people I talked to who actually heard the voice on the television, there's no real tape of it. People have made tapes or something online. They've read it. It's somebody reading it, and they put ETs on the picture that look horrible. You know, the big aliens that are scary. This is Astron. We were up there. He gave me this information a week before they did the broadcast that they were going to test something out right now. And he gave me his name again to tell my friends who I was going to a UFO group at that time. So I gave all the people the names, so they all had it. So when it happened, and it was printed up in the newspapers, his name was already in their hands. And they said, Mark, if we saw this newspaper ad, this article, we would have thought it was made up, but you told us this was your friend. So that's something we could do another thing on another time. Ashtar is a Venusian body right now. It's a Venusian self here. And he's known as Ashtar Shran. Shran is a planet that he had been part of a long time ago and helped with people there waking up. So he became like a leader at that time, a long time ago. So in his time, he was given that permission to use that as his last name if he wants to use it as a name. And it's not really names up there, it's like the frequencies. Astron's a frequency name. Cerulus is a frequency. Larinus, frequency. Calestriana, frequency. And this is Sarah, this is Phyllis, and her out-of-body state when we're out there together. And we've experienced many out-of-bodies together, and lucid, let's say lucid dream out-of-body. They're not even dreams. She's been on a ship with me. She's been with us. And other people have come with us that we've taken in the past, including people in England. We had 6 people at once in one house come out with us, and everybody remembered being on the ships. And they also didn't see me, but they saw me, so they recognized me. I'm trying to see if I got everything down. Anything?
You're doing beautifully.
Because they're here anyway, so you know.
If you want, go ahead.
Okay, so that was Mary's symbol. Maybe later we can have questions for the planes. There's lots of information on the planes. But in space, these beings we're not known as ETs. ETs is an Earth, extraterrestrial is an Earth thing. We're not extraterrestrials as ourselves, we're universal beings. And all of us are, all of us here. All your oversouls are. We're all universals. Or omniversals, because there's many universes, just as one universe we're in right now. So we say the omniversal reality. And again, levels are within the levels on each level. So if you have first plane level and you're taking ayahuasca, you're on first plane moving into this level here. You're not here or here with ayahuasca. That's my mission to tell people this, to be careful that the natural progression of the soul's awareness and awakening comes from the soul's progression on the other side as well as what you're studying on the physical. If you're taking supplements or things, not supplements, supplements are good. If you're taking any kind of things to enhance psychic abilities or anything like that, or drugs like drinks, that is going to affect the body system, which then gives it a poison in the body. It's like a poison. The brain recognizes it as a poison. And so it gives you these flashes of things that look like, oh my gosh, other realities. But in truth, you can't get to these other levels if you're taking drugs, heavy drugs, drinking a lot of alcohol, having a lot of, let's say, dross information, I don't know, things that are negative around you, studying witchcraft or evil things that are, like there's light witchcraft, which isn't witchcraft, it's just talking to the nature kingdom and other things like that. But if you're doing anything with black art, anything dark, that keeps you bound here. If you start cleansing, detoxing the body, don't drink heavy alcohol. You can drink a little here and there, but you cleanse it from yourself with water. Not become an alcoholic. Anything addictive will cause the soul to stay in these levels. And if you're out of body in astral projection, you will still be stuck in these levels because your frequency is not high enough to go beyond that. And so you will be back and forth, sexaholics, all this is in there. You can have a person, I've met people that have always these problems where they have sex addicts and all, and they're stuck here with astral beings attacking them. Anything, the fear, the worry, whatever their addiction is, it comes at them. So you want to cleanse this body as best you can. Don't take these other things that keep the body shaking with the frequency that's low, which is these things like ayahuasca, which they're promoting now. I'm only putting this out there because I've seen they're promoting it right now a lot, and all kinds of drugs or peyote or whatever they're doing. These are not good. And if it was shamanic and about 2,000 years ago, that was their way of helping their people get to a higher frequency of, or understanding what they're going to see when they're out of body far away. That's what they use to trigger the brain to get them, oh, there's a flash, this is what it kind of looks like. They're not saying to the children or the guys or the young women that they took as medicine people and say, well, you're going to take this for the rest of your life now. They gave them that little ritual to give them a glimpse of what they can or might see on that frequency when they get out. Then they don't do that anymore. They keep themselves cleansed and purified, and they fast a lot. Fasting a lot will help you get out of the body faster and higher frequencies as well, as long as you're detoxing and everything like that. That's what the fasting was about in the ancient times. A lot of that is because they knew that kept the body high in frequency. And it's easy to leave your body when you're in a high frequency. I hope I'm not talking too fast, but this is kind of what I feel is important to know now, because people are getting entrapped with this stuff. And, I want to learn how to be a psychic. Well, you already are psychic, or whatever you want to call it, just that you have to tune in. just practice tuning in. You don't need a course for $500 or $600 to tell you how to tune in. Start testing it. You could test it. Hold something and get a frequency, a rock or a holy object or something, and you'll get flashes. That's all it is training that. But everything that is an ability that comes from intuition or, let's say, psychic ability is something that should happen naturally to the body, the frequency of the person going. This has been the teachings I've always known on the other side. They said it's always natural, comes to the soul naturally. You wake up with one day with a 3D flash of a vision, and that opened, that third eye, let's say. Or you have a conscious awakening, crown chakra opens, and you have this whole incredible vision that suddenly is physical in front of you. A waking vision, they call it. That means all this had just opened up. This crown chakra to the third eye just opened up. And we don't need always a soul or some other soul that's discarnate to work with us to help open. Sometimes you have guides and friends that will protect the soul learning. And that's a good thing. These are people that you know from the other times. But to be willy-nilly with mediumship, just go into open channels, whatever they're doing. I'm not a channel. But if people do that, they're opening themselves up to anything to come into them, including astral beings. And those are the ones who trick everybody. So I've read a lot of stories about people saying, oh, Ashtar spoke to me. And I go, right. And they'll send me writings of what they've said. And it's not like they talk at all. It's an astral being pretending to be the star command or whatever they're doing. And they come to pretend they're Jesus too. And Jesus didn't marry Mary Magdalene. I know they're promoting that now. That's not true. And in fact, he's told me all these different things about that. So I think we can go beyond this, but I see the ego part up there, the body frequency, action, ego, karma. Those will determine the level as a soul goes to. You want to let go of the ego energy and become loving, more open and loving to energy, nature, creator, animals in the kingdom. And you'll find the animals will talk to you telepathically. And fish, too. And insects. Going through everything. Yeah. They're all
There's
there.
so many cultures, including the American Indian. I've been reading about that lately and blown away with what they're really saying has happened and has happened in the past.
Yes.
And the Eastern Indian cultures, and what a lot of the parallels are going on with exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm knocked down with that. I'm sure you are too.
Oh, yeah. Well, back 3,000 years ago, the crew and me, and as Etherians, we came in to help the Hopi and the native tribes out in the West. And so I had the information from them. That's the memory of that time and what we were doing. Oh, that's the Arcvana. Those are the ships. This is the planet Jupiter, giving you an idea of the size of how big they can get and bigger. And they just add on. Inside one of these domes, let's say, is the representation of planet Earth. And inside another dome might be another planet, another solar system. So other beings come and they transfer from different Arcvanas and other galaxies in deep space. And they can see other planet systems without visiting the planet. In fact, see other animals that were on their planets as well. So everything that we think is extinct today or is going extinct is actually rescued and saved on those higher dimensions. They have everything. So they can replenish animals onto a planet. And some have to leave the planet, like a rhino, let's say, or rhinoceros, who's like a Pleistocene creature, but it comes from a denser frequency, and it's heavier. And so as our Earth is moving into a higher dimensional energy in deep space, the galaxy is moving into space, you're going to have animals going to be leaving because they can't handle that next frequency. And that's the other part of our story, is that this galaxy is moving into another area of space, which in deep space is what we call a blue energy field, but on our physical density, it's not seen as blue. And it means that everything's going to speed up. And you see it happening right now in the solar system. The Earth is shifting with energy. Other planets are shifting. They're noticing the north and south poles of the planets are moving differently. And the solar sun is moving, and we have things going on with the sun right now because of the frequency. And where we're going in space is going to create a higher shift energy. And that's what the thing about the shift was. But in 2012, it really was kicking in. In 1966, we just barely we're in the outer skirts of this energy field that I used to see out there when I'm in space. So I've seen it back there, and now we're just on the edges of this field. And that just explains what's going on with our frequencies right now in the solar system and the planets around our solar system and this galaxy. Because the galaxies rotate very slowly, but they rotate. But we're moving in, and all the other galaxies are following along. We're all heading to another area in space. And we're going to go through this giant field, this highly magnetic energy, higher than any magnetic field you've been in yet. We've had one in around our sun already, but that is some of the other triggers of energy we're getting. This field is going to be a little more heavier, in higher frequency. That's what it means. So it might be the people who are very negative on planet right now, who are into killing or maiming or hurting anybody, their energy can't make it to that frequency. And if they pass away here now, they will not be able to come back and be reborn on the earth at that time, which is coming. It's a future earth in a sense, because their energy will not make it to that energy. So they'll be taken, these souls who have no belief systems or whatever, will be taken to another galaxy coming up from back here, from where we are. They'll be over there with a dense field of planet like an Earth. And there's a lot of planets similar to Earth. A lot of water, a lot of more water, but some have more land as well, less water, but they're similar to planet Earth. So if the soul was taken to one of these planet systems, it'll feel familiar. The energy will be similar to what they were used to, and they'll have a chance to keep coming through again and get rid of the evil or negativity they might have gotten from maybe some of the things they were doing on this dense level on this planet Earth. Because this density is where a lot of these negative beings were cast to in the physical dense realm. And that's what it meant in the ancient teachings of the ancient Bible, when they said there was a war, things went on, and beings were cast down into Earth. It just, in that time they were saying Earth, but it was dense level. And it's not our normal home. It's not where we normally reside as souls. This is a training density. This is we call boot camp density, or boot camp Earth, or boot camp physical density. So any physical UFO beings or ETs that people are meeting on planet Earth as military or whatever they are working with them are going to be similar to us in a sense. They might not look like humans, but they're interested in resources. They're interested in what they can use on our planet and in exchange for. So we got the laser technologies from them as well. And it was always their throwaway technology too. They will never give Earth their best technology. They're just going to give them give them that stuff for now. They'll make them happy. Some little laser. They have way beyond that information out there. But that's what's going on. The Earth is working with beings from other solar systems, human-looking kind, and they're just transferring back and forth trade. So they help them build a spaceship. They're doing that, but they're not giving them the information they need. I don't care what they're saying out there. All these guys are saying they're military, their brains have been military, whatever they're transferring their information. They wipe it out, they do things to them. In deep space, there's no Earth people from this planet flying around because they cannot be trusted yet. They are still negative, they're still warlike, and they want to take over things. If they're working with anybody, they're working with some physical beings who are probably military people trained or whatever they are, but they're training them in their military-like way. There is a military type of frequency out there. But again, if Earth people alone came out, they're ready to take over Mars or take over some other planet systems and shoot whatever's in the way. That's not the way it is in space. I used to tell them that there's no Star Wars like you think of Star Wars shooting everybody to pieces. But there is mechanisms for that, for controlling that. And they do have ways to maneuver meteors out of the way from blowing up a planet, or they're told this has to happen, then they allow the meteor to hit the planet because there has to be a cataclysm of some sort to take out some frequency or whatever's going on the planet Earth. And that's why we keep hearing about meteors coming towards this planet. One was buffered away by the space people. It made a left turn and went out. But the thing that's happening is there's so much negativity on this Earth right now caused by the people and their evil thoughts and what they're working with. That Creator's getting impatient. The infinite Creator knows what's going on. The only one rescuing us right now is Sananda. He's giving us all time. He's like giving the solar system, this planet, time. The other beings who are on the other planets on a higher density are not affected by this physical realm. They understand and they're trying to help us. But they can't come and help us because we have free will. Everything's about free will here on these densities. on all the things. So until we call out for help, then they can come. But Earth is arrogant. They came to help in 1951 a couple of times, but then they made the deal with the Greys. And they were warned not to do a deal with the Greys, but they did. And now they overtook everything. They just mistake everything. They sign a deal and they don't follow it. But the others came, the Etherians came to help and bring Earth to space alliances that we have out there right now. And so we got physical people in alliances as well as different dimensional spaces people.
Mark, if I may, there's what you're saying here is bringing up a question that's currently among the people of Disclosure Network New York. And what we're talking about here is what one of them, Braun, warned us about on his deathbed. He said the last playing card of the New World Order would be a false invasion that would look real, it would sound real, they would have beings that they made up themselves, and that the whole purpose of that is to scare every government on this planet to bond together and form the New World Order, which is the worst possible scenario you could have. And they said, this is the plan, this is the final card. And lately, I'm sure you're aware that the news, the major mainstream news has been going full blast about, oh, by the way, this is all real, that UFOs are real, hello, right?
They're setting everybody up again, even though everybody knew.
But they're saying to the masses that rethink this, because for the last, 50, 60 years, they've been saying, don't pay any attention to this, it's total BS. And now they're saying, rethink it. Now, we're thinking the reason they're doing that is deliberately plotting to reverse what they told us and to, oh yes, it's real, and to keep that going until it comes to a point where then they can whammo do the plan.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're laying the groundwork, and a lot of people in this group, we've been talking about that, you know that the United States and other countries has been releasing this information that they've been keeping secret for many, many years.
Yeah.
And you had talked about the fact that nuclear weapons have been shut down deliberately, so we know that...
From the 50s, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we know that they do that and that they're watching. So I guess my question is, for the group too, is where does that stand in the way of our friends from other galaxies and planets? Will they step in if something like this were to happen? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes. They had told us 30 some odd or more years ago that the governments were going to plan a fake invasion. They didn't have the technology yet, but now they do. And it's all with holographic energy. But this, like you said, they're creating, not a cyborg, but they're creating clone-like people, which they can create now. So we got to be careful. The thing that's important is tuning up to your higher part, your oversoul, your higher self, which when you're out of body in a high realm, you get into your higher self form. And there, you can communicate and be at one. And the thing is you want to be able to communicate. If a UFO shows up, you don't know what's in it. If you don't know what's in it, don't trust it. It's most likely not a good one. I mean, if it suddenly shows up and is following and getting your attention, don't go flashing your lights to get their attention unless you know intuitively they're your friend. That's why I know that, and I was told it by many times when I was a kid, what they do. So you want to be able to be attuned, be able to send telepathically in a way with a frequency that you send with a beam. Send out that love, have the love around your energy field, that energy of light and love, white light, lots of white light, and gold. And then send a thought to that ship you see up there. Or like even Diane, you've had experiences where you felt the implant, the coming back of the energy of love. You want to train yourself for that. Otherwise, these gray beings, these other types are out there, they don't have a love energy that goes with their frequency. They have lost empathic energy or something. They're kind of telepathic, but they're not empathic. They're kind of cold. So if you're sending out love to this craft and not responding, feeling anything back, and you get a feeling of energy as well, of love, that's not who you think it is. The good ones always have an energy of love coming with them, and or a telepathic call. You can actually hear a call telepathically saying, hello, look up, hi, something like that. The negative ones who want to abduct somebody will sometimes send out a blue beam of energy or something, and they'll say, come on outside. Don't be afraid, that kind of thing. Don't listen to that. The good ones will always be benevolent in love, never abduct you, you'll always have an invitation, but they will never take you, forcefully take you. So we got to learn how to listen to that telepathic frequency. And we do in our talks, which we might do another one because I was told we should, another activation for people to, again, have that frequency and learn how that works, to get in touch with your higher self or soul. Most people, when we do this activation, actually see or meet their oversoul or higher self. So when you connect like that and you know who you are, this is just the body we're in right now. As you know, we're spirit beings, we're souls. And these are cars we're driving right now. And you switch them back and forth in other lifetimes. But your true essence is higher frequency light and of the higher realm. So you want to be in touch with your true self. And that conscience is your true self. That one that says, don't do that. That's your true self. You say, it's my intuition, that too. But there's also the other ones that manipulate to try to say, oh, go do that right now. Yeah, do that. You steal that, take that. And your intuition, your higher part is saying, no, don't do it, it's bad. So we're always being tested and tricked and made those kind of decisions around this physical density boot camp planet. You're always being tested. We test. That's what the soul is going through here. So the negative beings who are here for that, who do that, are here to test us. And if we follow through with these negative beings into all the evil things that they want you to do, because they want that energy around them, they steal the energy from your energy field, and they lower us, make us earthbound more. So then when you go out of body at sleep time, you have a dream. A dream could be a lucid dream, but it might be a negative dream because of what's influenced around our aura, what they're manipulating us with, these beings. So always keep I know everybody doesn't want to hear this, but the truth is, Yehoshua came to this planet to cancel out those beings with his blood when he died on the cross. This is the truth. He claimed the planet back. But the thing is, these beings, they don't care. They're playing on it right now. They're stuck. They're playing here still. Their time is not up yet. But that is the souls out for every place you visit in this universe and galaxy. You know how many times I'm out there in different places, I'm doing all these incantation type of things that cancel out the negative beings just to get through places. So we have that, and all you have to do is say, the infinite blood of the Creator, the Son, the Creator, Yahweh, Yehoshua, cancels everything out. They run at the thought of that. They run with the words. These beings dissipate fast. So the pure, you can burn all the incense you want, but if you don't say the blood, cancels them right out. They run fast. They get away from your energy field. If you mention his name, they run. 3 times say his name. Yehoshua, Yahoshua. Yahweh is Yehoshua, the Creator. Yehoshua is Yahweh as the Son. So Yahweh, in space we call it Yahweh, is the breath of life, the Creator. Yehoshua is his name that he was given as a child. Means Yahweh saves. Yeshua means Yahweh will save. That's the translation of it. So Jesus came as a translation 100 years later from Greek. It still means the same. The power is in his name, no matter which name you use. He's told me that. Don't let them know. It's fine. Whatever name they use, there's power in his name, but you have to know and believe and trust it too. Because that's what happened with, what's that movie? The Exorcist. Then the priest was sent through the window. He had a Bible, he had a cross, didn't matter. The entities around him knew. He didn't believe. He didn't trust in his own belief system, no matter what he was doing. And that was based on a true story. That part where that happened was actually based on something I once read that was actually true, that happened to a priest. He was tossed by the entities out. So these beings can be very evil, really evil, and they have a lot of power with them. But if you trust him, know he's there, they back off.
quick question. The CERN collider.
Yeah.
Could you just address that for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Are they attempting to bring? What are they? What do they have already? What do they think their plans are?
Yeah, they did. They're trying to open up doorways or portals for these lower entities to come through. Demonic creatures, these on those low levels. And you know what the first level was? We had a level here. There's levels here, frequency down and even deeper, and that would be hell realms. We call. Basically, when you say, I've been in a hell realm, that's where it is. Now, Earth Plane 1, this first plane, is like a hell realm, but where we can manipulate and work in it. You know, we can be in it. But that's where those beings can harass us. But they can't harass us if we know the power behind us. That's the Creator. So they go for the people that trick them, doubt them, children, you know, whatever you can do. So it's good to raise children, at least understanding about Creator, the actual Creator is real. So that just want people to know that there are levels here. And when people have a near-death experience, they were in a hell vision, they said, it would have been around here in that density. They're kind of out of body, yeah, but they're in a density where that frequency is in there, on that dimension. And yes, they can come and rescue you. The angels can come, and Christ can come, bless the Mother. They can rescue the soul. And they've told me that Creator loves every creation it has. It loves us all. It even loves the demonic ones. It still loves the children, just like a mom or dad's kids in jail. They still love their kid in jail, you know. So Creator gives everyone a chance to come home. And they told me on the other side, Yehoshua, even a being of evil, demonic nature, who's in those realms, if it calls out with its heart, with its soul, if it calls out, if it has a soul, some of them don't, but if it calls out for help, it will be answered. But it has to be sincere. Creator knows the hearts of every being. So it knows when sincerity is being said and when it's just being played at. So if a being actually did call out with all the hope and love and it can get and say, I'm not this anymore, I can't be this anymore, please help me out, it will come and rescue them. But they won't get to these levels, but they will be given a chance, again, to come home to the infinite. So I know there's lots of teachings out there that say all these beings are going to be cast away and thrown into fires and pits and burned. You know, maybe that's in someone's belief system. But I've been out there long enough and traveled around, and I've gone to different dimensional spaces. I've never seen the hell realm they're talking about. I've only seen glimpses of a hell that looks annoying. And believe me, when a soul leaves this density, I know it's a whole different teaching actually. When a soul leaves this physical density, when they're passed on, and you get out of body, you're going to go through a heat wave. That's the cleansing heat. This is heat, but it depends on how much evil and negativity is with that soul, that the heat will get hotter. So it's the same way you put your hand over a stove and the heat gets hotter and you want to go, I gotta get out. It's going to feel like a heat went through the soul. You'll be in this and it'll feel like heat went through me really fast, very fire-like, and be gone instantly. But that's the cleansing of the dross energy around that energy field so they can move on to the next frequency. So that's where they say, oh, there's a purgatory, there's a this, there's a that. That's where you get that energy, that heat comes from, that cleansing frequency. But not to be afraid of it. You're not going to die from it. Not you're in the soul. You're not going to die. But the heat can build up in a heat that feels very intense, and instantly dissipates for them. So that might be where they get that hell feeling. And yet, I guess the lower ones could be trapped in something like that if they're evil. I don't know. So I haven't met them. And also, I went to these other planes. In the 1970s, I was going through here looking for all the different leaders we heard of. I was looking for Buddha, found him. It's in the Buddha realms. There's different Buddha levels, and they're still within here. I know they want to say there's a Buddhic level here, but it's really around here. So you got Egyptian gods. They're false gods. They're located on these levels in an own space where you want to study Egyptology or Egypt gods. They're there, but they're fake gods. They're fake. They don't get anywhere out. And if you study them and get trapped with their information, you don't get out either for a while. So when I hear people studying this Book of the Dead or this and that, I go, you got to get away from that, you know. So you got Egyptian stuff. We have I don't even know all the religions that are out there, but Krishna's another one. Krishna was an entity from space, the blue Krishna, the blue being. He's from space. He's actually an ET. And I see him out there a lot. He's he's on those different levels. But the blue people are actual people from this galaxy that have that beautiful blue skin. So they were visitors back then. But then they thought they were, gods or something. Yeah, they had some spaceships. So they allowed people to go along with what they could handle. If they were going to listen to them, then they would listen to him. Oh, he's a god because he goes up and down. Okay, great, fine. Let them believe that for now. Once you meet them, you see they're just like all of us, are souls, but he's an advanced being like Ashtar. Ashtar, the same realm like that. And these other ones that are out there that could be false. Any of these many false Hindu gods, those are false gods. Those are not real. They do have an appearance on that level. If you're calling for Ganesh, there will be a being that shows up, but who is it? Taking on that personality to you, to talk with you. So you gotta watch out. There are playful entities out there, and a lot of them take on these forms to play with the people, to get them to give them energy. And this anything you're worshiping, anything you're putting feet and your head down to, there's nothing on this entity level or any of these physical levels that should be bowed to except to the Creator, or Yehoshua. When you meet Yehoshua, you get down on your knees. Automatically it happens. Your soul knows. You do not bow to a human or an angel or any other human guru or anybody out there. It's an insult to the Creator. And they know that. The angels know it too. They don't like that.
So what I'm thinking...
The collider.
Sure.
The Hadron Collider. Yeah, that's opening up doorways to those levels that they want to introduce entities to come into to make more havoc on this planet to control the people. Remember, negative beings or demonic beings want to manifest as much as they can, but they can't unless they have blood sacrificing. The blood in the earth is what they like, and that controls, they like to use that to manipulate and create a spot for them to stand in where a sacrifice occurred of trauma and something happened. And that's why Yehoshua's blood, as his ultimate sacrifice as the lamb, canceled all of theirs out. And the thing is they know that truth. But they also know the souls wandering the earth don't know that truth, so they manipulate them more. So as soon as that soul, an entity of evil, knows that you know, they have to leave. And that's what it's all about, casting these beings out to go back to their realms. They know it. Remember, Yehoshua was walking the planet, and the guys come out of a cave, and they're saying, "So what are you doing here, son of God, son of man? You're here. Are you taking us out now before our time?" See, they know they only have a certain amount of time, and their time is almost up. And that frequency is shifting, and that's why I'm here too, because I told my father, I told my wife, I came to rescue her, but also I said, I came in to help, but this is it. There's no more time after this. I couldn't get another body. And I had a drowning experience, and it was already too late. So to get another, walk into another body, that's a discard, would take another bunch of time. I was trying since the 1920s to test it out, see how it would work. And that's what I'm talking about. This energy that they're doing with the Hadron Colliders is always to open up these doorways. Now, there's certain strange animals and beings that are upon the earth right now that people are wondering, and my intuition, my feeling about it, a lot of these beings are coming from those Hadron energy frequencies. Because they did one, you said a Hadron Collider, was it, I don't know if it was Long Island or Massachusetts, and the college, the little one,
yeah.
And the college was having manifestations occurring,
Yeah.
and hauntings and stuff, and that's what it could do. And there's people in Florida, people in Michigan that are seeing creatures that are flying that look like gargoyles, creatures that, well, I like these beings, the Bigfoot, they're not evil. But there's other beings that are being seen, including pterodactyls.
Oh.
They're seeing them. They're gigantic, like the size of a little airplane. And modern day, right now, like 2018, things like that. These beings could come through doorways that opened up. But also some of these creatures still exist out in the desert there. But the thing is that there's so many things being seen, like the thunderbirds, the big giant bird that the Native Americans talk about that always came before the storm. Mm-hmm. They're big giant black birds usually, and they pick people up or pick animals up. So sometimes this just happened too. I was reading a recent account with somebody else. In the middle of a road, they were walking, and this giant bird came down to swoop. Missed them, but they said it was huge. the sides of the road with the wings. So they are out there. And it seems that the energy, as we know, is changing. This is going to allow nature kingdom, other beings to be seen physically by us. And the more attuned you are, the more you're going to start seeing them, like nature spirits, which you see when the energy is right. But even the nature spirits have told me, we allow you to see us. You can sense us, you can see a little glow. But if you see a physical entity, a physical nature spirit, which I've seen many of them, even a dragon, they say we allow that to be seen through your energy because they're utilizing our frequency around us and our aura to manifest the body for us to see them with. They're not draining us with energy. They're just getting in our energy and having their energy do that with our frequency. So I knew that, and they're very sweet. So when you do see one, if you see a physical nature spirit, fairy on a plant, or elf walking by, say hi and thanks, because they're doing it on purpose for you to see them walking by, or they're sitting there waving at you. This has happened to me and other people. So I've always thanked them for it. And I took some pictures of them on one of our cameras one time too. So now did we do the Hadron Collider?
I'm sorry?
The Hadron Collider, was that good?
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing, opening up that frequency to make it lower, to drain people, to utilize and manipulate people, or to harass them, because they're all about, these entities, or some of them are about blood sacrifice. And that's why you see all this abortion and all this stuff happening right now. It's all a sacrifice. And if you go around in the clinics, you're going to see negative evil beings around them in the frequency. You're going to see it because they're utilizing that frequency and that pain, that trauma, that little soul that's being rescued on the other side. But, it's happening. And this is not what Creator wants. And this is very disturbing to Yehoshua and the others on the other side.
The Illuminati we see on the internet, even with photographs now, and it's a video of some of the blood sacrifices, and babies are involved, which is just, it goes beyond evil. It's just, and it's almost getting to the point now that people are knowing that this is going on. They're trying to cover it up, but things are leaking out, and that's coming up more and more. So what you're saying is right in some of the alternate news. Headlines.
And the children go missing, and the people go missing. And don't forget, we got those other entities inside the earth that look like kind of a lizard dinosaur person. They call them a reptilian. There's also saurians. Some of them the saurians are more like a dinosaur. They have a snout. The lizard, reptilians more face like human-like, but skins are different a little bit sometimes. And they can change their eyes. Saurians have been seen. And they take the deer in the roadkill. They'll take those and take them back. Yeah, they don't take us. They're friendlier. But there's this reptilian group that's kind of a negative group. But there's not all reptilians are negative. I always have to say that because there's good ones out there. Just like there's good grays out there, good beings that are gray. And they've even said we're trying to stop this. They're trying to be a little more spiritual. If a gray could get that, that's what they do. Because a lot of these little things that are walking around like a gray, they're like an android. They're like a clone. They're man-made. They're not a robot, but they're created to be like a bee, like a hive mentality. So they just do their jobs. And there's always a taller one that's manipulating them telepathically, telling them what to do for them. Don't do that. So the tall ones are the grays, the real original being. They're 6 feet, some of them are 5 feet. I'm trying to cover too many things. So the Hadron Collider, we got that. That's what around the planet. They're trying to set that frequency around the planet, and that's what they're doing. And they're putting it into the planet's system, into the Earth, to create that frequency in the Earth as well. And they're making it feel like there's no way out. There's nothing that we can do about it. But there is. And it's Creator. It's keeping your heart, your mind, your thought, your soul, your whole mind and feelings about Creator protecting us. Because the Creator is there to protect us. But it comes to us when we call to it. It doesn't influence us like it's coming in like that because it's free will. It won't do that on our planet systems. So the link to Creator, like through Yehoshua, who will be with you anyway, even though you don't believe, he's there with you, through the Holy Spirit energy in our heart. The Yehoshua, the Creator, you reach up to, and Creator reaches down to you. The space beings that we're talking about, you reach up to them with mind, thought. The good ones, the benevolent ones. Ashtar and those crews, those are alliance crews. They're not physical people. They don't care about resources on Earth. They care about the humans, and they care about the Earth itself as an entity. So they're here for that protection. And they're the ones doing everything to protect them. So they'll even clean up the oceans. Many people don't notice it, though. So you reach up to Creator, and Creator reaches down to you with thought and telepathy and love, and you have that energy and influence, and it comes through Yehoshua, known as Christ, or Sanam, as we know him. So he's there for us. He's there to protect us, and they will help us. And he's always rescued me whenever I called out for help. And when I was involved with negative beings at a place that was haunted, I called out. I had the words I had to say, and I heard all the demonic voices that they scream at you, and they curse you out with every kind of curse. And I did this words that I was told to do, knowing Christ was with me, knowing Archangel Michael was there, and those things shrunk up and left as fast as they could. So the power is there when you know it's there, and you trust it's there, and I don't say we believe in Jesus. I say I know him because I've met him. He's physically appeared to me. I've met him. He's real. He's alive. He died. He rose again, and he's left into ascension. Yes, he did. And he's got a physical body when he needs to pop in, and he's just himself. So even the angels in the churches and places will scream out, he lives. He lives. To let people know telepathically, he lives. He's alive. He's there. And that's why he's called the Son of Man. He's Son of Creator, but also the Son of Man, because he came in to be the physical man, physical body, so everybody could relate, and he could relate everything with everybody. And because of his blood sacrifice that canceled out all this negative junk that's going on, that's who you trust in for that. And you call on that to protect you, the blood. It's like the mystical blood of Christ, the white light. That's what that white light is about when you talk about the Christ light. That's what it is, the mystical blood of Christ. You say, I call on the blood of Christ to pour upon me and go through my body, crown chakra all the way to my feet, surround my energy field with that light and love of the infinite creator. Thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. And anything, when you mention the blood or you mention his name, again, the demons leave, the creatures leave. I had to keep repeating that because they want me to say that. In 1978, I was given this vision in the car while I was moving my car back and forth for an hour and a half. And the first one I showed people was Phyllis, and I was telling Phyllis, I saw this whole vision go by, like you looking at the window of your dashboard, all of a sudden there was a physical vision going by like a movie. And I just kept listening to them say, when you see this, it's getting close. So the guy with the boombox on his shoulder, I said, why is he doing that in his head? Then the boombox here, in the music and all that in his head. And I've told about this last time, about how we had transistor radio, so why I would put a big thing on his head. Then they had the phone, the giant phone like Jerry Seinfeld would use. That came in. Then came the Walkman. I saw people walking with something attached with them. Headphones that are gigantic, then the headphones shrank to smaller headphones. Then headphones kind of came back like this. And I just kept seeing the thing changing. And it was round. And I kept thinking, is that a radio also, or a tape recorder of some kind? And then we got that kind with the iPod look. I thought that was a transistor radio. The headphones were here, shrunk to the little ones with the wires, and they kept hitting it. So I thought they were changing a station. And then they would talk at them. So now it confused me. I thought they're singing. But it was cell phones, what we know today. Then it came wireless, and the person was walking with that. And I said, now they're doing something. That's a telephone, didn't make sense. Then they were tapping the thing, and I thought, is this a radio again? What the heck is going on? They're tapping it. Then it moved into a watch. A guy went by, walking by, and he took his arm and he started doing this to it, and he's talking. So I thought, Dick Tracy's got the watch. Now they got the watch. That's what it looked like. And then they kept saying, it's getting closer and closer. That's what they kept saying every time. The shift with picture, a new picture came by. When you see this, it gets closer. When you see this, it's very close. When you see this, the time is almost gone. Then they got to the earphones, to where they look like earphones with a wire in the ear. Then they said it will become wireless in the ear. Then they said it will get to the point where it's in the ear and will not be noticed. We're at that point now. They said, when you see that, time's up. Meaning, too late. Get your energy act together. Tune up to Creator now. Get your act going, because when things start happening, we might have a reset. Bible prophecies, Nostradamus, the Hopi Blue Kachina, The crop circles speak about things, ancient cultures, the floods and cataclysms, astrophysics. We talk about suspiciousobservers.org. We say join it if you can, get a $30 yearly subscription. Then you get into the deep stuff that they got. Micronovas are happening all the time. And the space people didn't call micronovas. That we call it fluctuations of stars and systems. We don't use micronovas because novas are huge. When they blow up, the whole planet star system goes. But the other stars will do things like this, and they go back. The whole matter of our physical solar system and our galaxies and our universe on this dense level, the physical, the first plane level, is exchange of energy constantly moving in motion. Creators set it up in such a way, everything you need is all created already. Creator's already seen it and done it and been there. Everything you think is from Creator already, invented or done before on some other density, some other planet system, a million years ago. It doesn't matter. It's all happening all the time. So the energy is set up on the physical densities on these levels as a machine, like a machine working. We have the planets give off energy, the solar suns give off energy. There's an exchange constantly of energy with all the planet systems, and the nebulas are affecting with the stars being born or stars dying as well. So we have this constant exchange of energy, negative polarity, positive polarity, constantly being set up, constantly going. And that's what how the universe is being set up. So as souls, we're just experiencing it because Creator wants us to experience it. You know, to have fun and learn and have fun and explore. Not to kill everything and not to maim it, but that's dense level. In fact, the space people of the Therian, as well as Adamic races, who are similar to Ashtar-type people who came to physical Earth too, they were confused why people of Earth, or human, which means animal man, humans are so blood addicted, blood sacrifice. They want to kill, they want blood, they want to see blood. All the movies want to see blood. There's this whole thing with blood addiction. They're confused by it because they don't see that. They would never think of hurting another soul, another being. And in fact, when I was a little kid, very little, 4, 5 and a half, 4 and a half, my father had something on TV called boxing or whatever, right? They were boxing. And I was walking through the living room, and I'm watching this, and I was stunned looking at these people punching each other. And I went, what is this? And he says, that's boxing. I said, why? He says, well, it's a sport. I said, not where I come from. And he said, he would always like, oh, okay, where do you come from? He always knew, but he studied everything I did because he was always amazed because I was predicting things, saying what was going to happen, and it was all happening. And years later it would happen. You'd say, you said that, and you were like a little kid, and I'm 9. He says, now you're 9. I said, yeah. So I said, the planet will be found that's beyond Pluto. There's a whole bunch of big planets out there. Anyway, the thing is I said, not where I come from. Because where I come from, there's no game that hurts others. We're fun. We have fun. We get excited. If you're playing a game and someone loses, they're going, so what? Yeah, you won. Great. There's nothing like, oh, I'm having a sword. No, none of that goes on. In a game, there's no losing. They just have fun. But someone will win, and they get excited by it. But they're not like angry because they lost. So I couldn't understand anybody hurting each other. So when I saw football for the first time, I was shocked because they were jumping and beating on each other. So any kind of game where they were pounding people was totally against what we know on the other side. There's none of that going on. You can have horses, you can have animals that look like horses, and animals like that do things, but there's no beating on each other or hurting each other or doing that.
That would include animals. It would include
yeah,
animals.
yeah. You can have a race. You can be on a dinosaur, a little creature, but they're nothing getting hurt. So it's very hard for me as a little kid to deal with what I saw in high school. I didn't join those sports. The only one I liked was baseball. It's because it didn't hurt anybody. Nobody got killed by it. And I was really good at it. But that was it. And I was just, I was in art. So I'm trying to see if I've covered everything now, because I'm also getting what they want us to say. Okay, Ben Davidson, he's the astrophysicist for the suspiciousobservers.org. And they also recommend magneticreversal.org. And the Space Weather Report every day is on Suspicious Observer with Ben Davidson. He gives you a quick report for like how many seconds? 3 minutes? Maybe 3 minutes.
5 minutes maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Of what's happening in your solar system now. What's happening to the sun right now. of spots, what's going on planet Earth. Because you know the sunspots and the emissions affect the Earth and earthquakes. So they know if they see the sunspot happening, there's going to be somebody on Earth going to have something happening. And sure enough, it always does happen. There's a quake or something, depending on what's facing the sun on our Earth at the time. Remember, Earth travels 1,000 miles an hour in a rotation. So those things that are going to happen, like we're talking about here, extinction prediction cycles, and these are the experts. We got Ben down here, but Douglas Vogt up here. And he is talking about the magnetic reversal because the fields are reversing, and the closer it gets, the more the planet has a little readjustment. And that could be a cataclysmic event, like extinction event. And here's our other mention here. Ben has just changed his tune already. He had within 100 to 200 years. He's already said within my lifetime last week. Douglas is saying 2046. Another guy's saying 2040. The space people are saying soon to me, but soon to them means a couple of years. But when they say soon, it doesn't mean like next week. But for space, where there is no real time the way it works, they say soon, they mean get your act together. Something's happening within this time. And when I came into this planet at this time, I knew something was going to happen in my lifetime. And I told my father, my mom and dad are dead a long time ago, but I said, I came to do this, and I came to help with something with teaching and with my art. I don't understand it yet, but it's something to do with where I come from and what I do from space. And that's what I'm here for. So I'm trying to say, Creator wants us home, Yehoshua wants us home, Blessed Mother wants us home, your Oversoul wants you to come home to the higher realms, because that's where we're from, those high realms. We want to go home. You want to get stuck on this density again and reincarnate in a caveman body now because the earth got flipped and it got cataclysmed, and nothing here will be here. No art will be here. Maybe they'll find a sculpture in the ocean under the sand. Who knows? But they won't have any technology. Everything will be gone. And what's going to come back is reincarnating through that. So we're going to be back to caveman time again, another 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. And they're going to write another Bible book and create that book and say it's only 6,000 years ago, that it was made, the earth. Right? That's what they try to promote. It's not true. The Earth's been here for a long time. We've had 4 cycles already going over. Each time we had civilization on this planet of either space beings working here or other beings. And humans. So man is not from an ape. Man is not from an ape. They want to promote that, but it's not true. You might find different subspecies of creatures and others that are extinct that look human too. There's other humans out there that were extinct. They look like people like us walking around too. So they're trying to say some story that's not real. A lot of the people were placed here too, and from other beings. Like a giant petri dish, but not. Science lab, I would say. Under the direction of Ashtar and the crew. These ships are very long, 2,000 plus miles. And they're teaching ships, and they're manifesting on higher fourth through mid 7th dimension. These craft can manifest physical, can teleport and take people up onto the ships to be rescued, which we've done before. During the ancient times of Atlantis, I was part of a team. We came and we did that. And some of the people we met in our past remembered when they met me that you rescued me from Atlantis. Not me, but my other self, pardon me. So there are people that are psychic. They recognize things. They recognize the soul. And I've had people say, you're an old soul, but you're young, right? And I said, yeah, I'm old, but I'm young here. I'm new here. So that's how the psychics can read it. So these ships can come and manifest and teleport people up. They don't have to land. They can send scouts down the land if people are not ready for that, and they'll get on board. When we come to this false flag that they're going to do,
Yep.
It's like they know these people can do this, and I've been teleported from Central Park onto the ship. It's very quick. You feel an energy of warmth and love and silence around you, and all of a sudden, you're not there anymore. And they did that to me when I was driving a car in 1977. They teleported me and the car onto the ship. And I told that story. I was to go to a friend's house. It takes almost an hour to get to from upstate New York to where he lived. At least 45 minutes to an hour. And when I got teleported, I was dropped in the road near his house and got to his house, and it was like 5 minutes later. And he's, Mark, you can't be here right now. And I was. Anyway, that was that experience. So here, teleportation, November 3rd, 77. They jumped me. I was on the ship. Forget the background window. We put that in to make it more dramatic. But we were there. I was there, and I was talking to them, and all of a sudden, I went, wait a minute. They said, "How was your day?" Telepathic. I said, "The day." I didn't finish the day. I was driving to Ralph's house, and I went, "What happened?" And they said, "No, nothing. Everything will be okay. We'll see you late tonight, and we'll see you out there in the field." So this kind of stuff was a test to show. Let me tell people, this is what it's like. I was driving. I'm coming around a corner. I blinked, and all of a sudden, I'm standing on the ship in my other body form, my aspect. I'm standing like, anyways, okay, you know, you got it. You knew something happened, and then there was the joke. There was a smirk on there. I knew something was going on. So then they said, "Okay, we'll be right back." I said, "Well, who's driving the car? What's happening in the car?" They said, "Everything is suspended." They suspend everything. It's the frequency. They took it with them to the ship. They take you in, you take your car, whatever, and then drop me off right near Ralph's house. So that's how that happened. So suddenly I'm just sitting in the car. I blinked on the ship, and I'm in the car like this. And here I am. So that's how that works. Here's when I had the extraterrestrial experience with the guy in the park. What do we got here? Ashtar. Oh, okay. These are old ones. This is my first encounter on the ship when I was 1958 in the school field. We went beyond Earth to the other, behind the moon, towards Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, went around there, came around, came back to Earth. The Earth is round. We went around it, flat Earth. So that was around 5 years old at the most. 1967, they were over my house in the backyard, and this is a ship on the left that opened up a window, and one of my friend waves to me. It was my own self. Then in 1977, in the school field, in the dome, they appeared and materialized as transparent, solid people. I don't know if you explain it that way, but they touched you. You could feel it, but they looked semi-transparent, but not totally transparent. And they told me that was the frequency because they come from this other level. It's dense, too dense for them at the time. So unless they're coming in the ship with this ship energy near them, and they can walk around the area, that ship frequency keeps them okay and solid. That's the high Ethereum, dude, very high. So they created a dome effect for that frequency for them to materialize in. I had to walk through the dome and feel the energy. And my dog stayed outside. I told him to sit. I had my shepherd. And then they surrounded me. Inside the dome was complete silence, no wind, no birds. The essence of sanctity and smells of flowers and incense that was incredible. And love, pure love, blissful love. And that's what their energy is. And that's what I meant about telepathically calling, or they're calling. They will send that blissful love energy to you in a call, and come in an energy of love. And you just know your heart opens. It's just love. In fact, some people spontaneously cry because it's just so much love. You know, I'm crying, I don't know why. I'm just happy. So Ashtar, when I got teleported on this day, now remember, I don't know the guy when he's sitting there. I didn't know he was Balthon until later. But he scanned me and all this with his fake microphone, which wasn't a microphone. And so when I got on the ship, it was after Phyllis had, how do we get to that part? And she downloaded the pictures, and then I was whammied with the flash of what exactly happened. They were holding it back for me with a clog, what do they call it? Blocking. They're blocking. First shot was 118. Second shot, 142, 24 missing minutes. It was the first shot when I took the picture, and I heard, "Don't wait too long between pictures. Too much time will go." And then I was engulfed by warmth. And then I knew something fishy was happening. There was no more sound. And then for me, I was back again, taking the next shot, but the scene changed from a cloud. So I knew something fishy happened, but I couldn't tell because I didn't feel missing time. I didn't have the missing time. But when I got home, everything was missing time. Here's Balthon walking towards me in the park where he kind of materialized because there was nobody there. And peripherally, I saw suddenly somebody standing there coming very close, slowly towards me. And this is an area where nobody goes. They don't walk dogs. It's just kind of a spot where I go and I do my thing. I think I took you there. It's my thing. and it's quiet. So then he sat down next to me. And remember, there's seats all over the place. This is me sitting in the seat right here. So he comes by and sits down next to me there. Puts his left leg into my tote bag, which was for cameras, so people don't know you got cameras on your binoculars. And he leaned in and he was talking to me. So I shook his hand when he left and everything, and I watched him, observed him until he dematerialized when he walked away, heading towards 85th Street, Central Park West exit. He just dematerialized on the sidewalk. No one else saw him, I guess. But I shook his hand, and I was about to call Phyllis when he dematerialized. I took a cell phone, I was going to call her. And then I was blocked. As like, why don't you go stand by the tree you stand by? So I knew that was a call, so I said, okay, I'll go stand by the tree. It was super hot. So I went to the tree. Phyllis took this of me after to show where I was. There's this little tree and this big tree, and looked straight up. And that's where I was taken. So he prepared me with a scanner thing to take me, because I'm living in New York City. I am densified here. Back in the old days when I was young, I was upstate in the fields. I was not dense with this energy, this gross energy of the city. In fact, when I came to visit anybody in the city, I'd get a severe headache on the Bronx, or when the train was coming in, I would get this migraine. I was like, what the heck? And as soon as I left New York, the migraine would disappear at that area. So I knew there was something with the energy back in 1970. I was 70. So I was effective. So now I guess I'm used to it. But he scanned me purposely because we get covered with thought forms and junk from other people. We get covered with energy. I'm not taking drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything. But he still scanned me to get the frequency clear. Now, we want to keep ourselves clear with the high love of Creator, the white light, the golden frequency around it, white blazing, sparkling diamonds of light, shimmered with golden like a sparkler, and a little silver too you can put in there. Silver and gold, always good. Now, the master high teachers have that energy. When they're studying us from those ships, I've been up there, I know what we look for. We're looking at the earth, we scan into, let's say, America. Now we scan into New York City, or let's say New York City. Now they're going to look at the city in one whole big scoop. And what we're seeing is the soul's lights, your soul light, which is your auric energies as well. We're looking at the dots. And there's a lot of brown dots and a lot of dark gray dots, and those are the ones who are into gross energy, negative things, smoking, drugs, drinking, whatever they're into, porn, everything. So those are not the dots they're looking at. They're looking at the awakened ones, the ones who are tuning up. So now you're seeing golden white, pink, purple, lavender, light blue. Those are the ones they're tuning to. And guess who's first transported to the ships when the time comes? The ones with the golden, white, and blue lavender dots. They come up first. The brown, the black, they're not going to be on the ship. They won't even work on the ship. Their frequency would be so negative, it couldn't handle it. So they're not rescuing the gross energy thought form people. Sadly, they will go and come back again in another galaxy, maybe similar to this one. What we're trying to rescue is those souls and get them home for Yehoshua, for Creator. To wake them up, get them home. Get them off this density. The wheel that we had, the gerbil wheel we're all going on, reincarnating. And this is my first time here. But I know what it's like for the reincarnating cycle. So the other places we've been to. So we got to be able to get off that cycle. If you're murdering people, you're going to have to come back somewhere. But if you're not, and you're just a good person, and you're just being drawn back because you think you like this planet, it's the only place I can see because on that level, those levels again, you're around the Earth. But if you haven't met some space beings there because you're afraid of them, well, they're 8, 9, 10 feet tall, some of them. But we try to crunch ourselves down to 7 feet in those levels. But if you're afraid and are afraid to talk to us or come towards us, we're not supposed to just come over. You have to be triggered with a curiosity to say, who are those people over there? I wonder what they're about. And you might go over and just ask a question. Or a teacher will say, or you might see a teacher like a master, let's say master, ascended ET or something, or a human, and you say, how do I get into space? How do I find out information about other places to go besides here? That's what they're looking for, the curious soul, the curious ones. So you say, well, you might want to go to that complex over there, which looks like a college facility from the future. You go that way and you go to those places and you'll ask for the people where the landing areas are. Oh, you mean like airplane landing strips? Well, sort of. So they'll tell you and they'll guide you in that way. That's how the souls get up there, come home. Because You want to be able to keep that memory of there's ways to meet people and how to get there. But it's not us coming to you. We can't do it. It's against the rules. The soul has to be triggered. So yeah, they'll put things around that you could see. You'll even see lights, panel lighting, photo type things on walls to trigger souls to go, hey, wait a minute, that's not that Andromeda galaxy? What's that doing up there? Hey, what's that about? So they put things to give you flashes of, you want to know about them? Come over this way. You know, they give you that like a poster, but they're flashing, they're moving pictures. So the souls do have opportunities to see things and get curious.
You're talking about when they're on the other side.
When you're on the other side. If you died and went to the other side. You might, if you passed away on the other and you went to the other side, you might be in these areas where you see these billboard effects on the side. It's just like Earth. It's future Earth, but it's an Earth. Oh, this is our sister, Phyllis's sister, Cecile. In July 2016, 9th, 2016, she was in a dollar store shopping for one item, and she said, when she found the item, she went to one of the aisles at the end, and all of a sudden almost bumped into these three guys standing at the aisle, between the aisles. And she looked up to this one, and telepathically, she said to herself, whoa, I wonder if these are those space people that Mark talks about, because she hears our stuff. And he looked down at her and he smiled. In that smile, she was in flux with love, bliss, beauty, soul friend, soulmate, something like that. She fell in love. And she goes, I felt like I was a kid. I was in love. I was like, what the heck is this? She never had the bliss and energy of that. Blissful love of knowing, of recognition. She recognized an energy. She understood it. This man on this side over here was her guardian angel, protecting her. He manifested to help this ET, and this angel over here is his angel friend. Your angels work with you as friends and come in to help. So he's there observing that way. Her angel's that way. They're observing what's going on in the store. Because there was something probably going to happen in the store. They might have came purposely for that to protect her, but give her an opportunity to actually meet her own soulmate on the other side. This is a guy she's been in a body with, had memory dreams now. He's written I love you on boards on the other side in the teaching rooms. He's a teacher with Ashtar's crews on the other side with the alliances. So we know him as Zarin. So Seal kept going back to this dollar store in Connecticut to see if she could meet them again. It not only happens once, that doesn't normally happen again. Plus, nobody in the store saw these guys except her. They followed her right on the line, didn't buy anything. They just followed her right on the cash register line, and they scanned her one item, the girl, and the girl never even looked up to see who was there. And Cecile noticed that nobody in the store was looking at these guys that were right behind her. So I tell her, well, that's what happens. That's what Balthon did. You know, you shake their hand and everything, but you're seeing them. They allow you. Their frequency does not allow the other humans to see them, or those other humans are not aware enough, third eye-wise, to even see them, because they're gross energy thinking. You know, that's how these guys work. And they've always told me since I was a little kid, those will see who we want to see. So if a group of people see a spaceship, not everybody sees the actual spaceship the way it really is, like a scout ship, let's say. Another person, maybe Nick and I are standing there, you are with us, and we're going, look at that, it's a mothership of scout ship babies, you know, shooting the babies out, you know, going around town. And you might say, mothership? You know, it's a giant disc, you know? That's it, nothing's happening. Another person sees nothing. What are you looking at? So that's what they mean. They have a way that they let the ones who are aware and open to give them a sight, to give them a trigger, and it gives them an awakening. And the people who are not ready cannot see it because they would not understand it even if they did. And they don't want to cause heart attacks. They don't do that to people. You know, so all these fake psychic channels that say, oh, this group is coming in, but they're a group to flash over the whole cities of Earth, and they're going to do this and sit there for a week in the sky. And I went, no, they don't. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't never do that. They would cause heart attacks on people all over the planet. That's why this false flag that they're going to do is going to cause people to have panic attacks and heart attacks. And that's not space people. Yep. That's not the good guys. That's not the guys that we know. We know.
That's a very important point. You should say that again.
The guys, the good beings of this type who are not physicals, they don't need resources of this planet. They're teachers. They care about the planet. They care about the humans and the souls around them for awakening and coming home. So they're not going to send up a bunch of alliance ships or what do you call them, fleets or something, to show up around cities and towns and countries and just sit in the sky like they did on the movie V. They don't do that. That causes people panic, death, heart attack, whatever. They don't do that. An evil being might want to do that, but not, not them. So they would not do that, and that's because they come to those who are ready. They do not, they always say we come to our own as well. So the ship that you're being focused to is people who are familiar with your energy, if they're coming to you a lot and showing up. So I always know who's in my ships coming to me. I know it's Alcron, Diane, remember Alcron? And the ship's at Botanical Garden. Alcron is working as a commander with Ashtar's crews around New York State, New York City. So I called to Alcron. Are you guys up there? Alcron, are you guys up there? Who's in the area? Send someone. So we had sightings in Botanical Garden. So again, if you know the good guys are in those ships, their frequencies are going to be love. And that's why if they're setting this up with this false flag alert, whatever it is in New York or America, world, with holographic images or whatever they're going to do, because remember, they have spaceships of their own here on Earth right now that they've worked with, that they're not deep spaceships, they're just spaceships that can fly around the Earth. But they've got them. In fact, in the 50s, one of our friends worked with George Van Tassel. He's passed on, all of them have passed on. But he said, he worked with George in 1952, and he was a scientist. And George gave him a photograph of this UFO, like George Adamski type UFO, Bell UFO. Those are Venusian. Those are Venusian ships that are real, that are over 5,000 plus years old, used around the Earth and space, and they're scouts. So George gave our friend Jose a picture, and he said, go show the military personnel that are here. Because George Van Tassel always had military people around his complex working there with him, watching things. And he was friends with him because I think he was in the Air Force. So he said, go take it around and don't let them keep the picture, but stand nearby to listen to what they say. And so he did it. He gave him the copy of this picture or photo, and he stood behind the guys, pretending he was doing something. And one guy says, now they're like generals or whatever. He says, oh, look at that. The other guy goes, yeah, that's really great. And he goes, wait a minute, looks like one of ours. And then the other guy says, but it's not. It's one of theirs. Look at it. Really, it's not that. It's not ours. So you see how they mimicked the scout ships from George Van Tassel days, which resemble the ones from German days, but they're not. But they're not. So that's when he said one of ours, which means that they have a similar type of craft that they manufactured to fly around the planet Earth. Don't go deep space at all. So that's what they scare people with probably too. So the thing is, when he said no, it's not that, it's theirs, and he got the picture back to George. And he said, that's what I wanted to hear them say. I was glad you heard that now. So he says, because I took it, it was my friends in the ship, because George had physical contact with Venusians, and just as George Adamski did.
Mark?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Your lecture, again, is cutting edge, and we're so grateful for that. This has gone by so quickly,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at the clock, and I
Yeah.
can't believe it's time to say that this is the end portion. Now, I want to talk to you about your upcoming book.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about the rest of the presentation. So my thinking, if it's all right with you and Phyllis, is
Right.
that
I'll end
we
this.
do another part of this somewhere in the summer, according to what your schedule is, and we could continue this, because I just think there's so much more to go, and I don't want to rush it at all. And I know the people in the room have questions. Oh my God, do they have? I can feel it, and I want to have them have the time.
Okay.
So is that okay?
Yeah.
To that
so we
plan?
that's it, gang, with this?
Sorry.
We'll show this part, and that's it?
I think we should stop it now and then
Okay.
continue
This
with
is just
that.
our upcoming book we're working on.
Yeah.
We still haven't finished it.
So guys, on behalf of the members of Disclosure Network New York, both here with us today as well as the YouTube listeners, I want to thank you very much for your exciting and insightful talk. I would like to also invite you back, of course, again, when your time permits, hopefully in the summer. I want to ask now the members here in the room of Disclosure Network, would you please show Mark and Phyllis how much we appreciate